And welcome, Sylvia.
Hi, Lisa. Thank you so much. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you.
Awesome. So
Let me see your shirt.
look
There
at
we
my
are.
awesome shirt and my very subtle Kamala hat. Now I'm going to take it off because I don't want to like wear a hat indoors, but this is going to be part of my talk. As Lisa mentioned, I am an immigrant computer engineer turned turned political activist kind of by mistake because after the 2016 election, I was in shock. I literally got sick after seeing what happened. And then since I'm a numbers person, I started looking at the numbers right around the Women's March in 2017. And what broke me was seeing the voter turnout numbers for Latinos in the US, because up to 2016, all of the elections, the 6 presidential elections, including 2016, that number had been consistently below 50%. And I'm like, wait a minute, what do you mean our turnout is below 50%? Like, no, we have to do something. And then what I noticed was that there wasn't a lot of information by Latinos for Latinos. And so then it's interesting hearing Michelle Obama say, do something. Because when I used to work in corporate America, I used to work at Intel Corporation. And one of the company values is assumed responsibility in all areas. Like if literally you're walking down the hallway and there's a spill on the floor, it is your responsibility. I don't care if you're the janitor, I don't care if you're cleaning crew. It is now assumed responsibility that you're going to help address this. I mean, maybe you're not going to pull them up, but you're going to help take care of the problem. And so that is something that was ingrained into me as an employee in corporate America. And probably that's what drove me to go and do something with regards to informing the Latino community. The problem is that, like as Lisa said, I didn't grow up in the United States. And so I had already become a citizen in 2004. But I'm going to confess to you, my knowledge of, US history and politics was kind of restricted to what I had learned and memorized for my citizenship interview. So at the time, like, for example, if you asked me what the filibuster was, I'm going to throw myself under the bus here. It's super embarrassing. To me, it was some weird thing that politicians did, standing up for hours and wearing diapers, and I didn't understand why. If you told me lobbying, to me, lobbying gave me some image of a fancy hotel with, coconut water smell and jazzy music. Gerrymandering, I was like, I have no idea what it is. And in fact, it's a word that cannot be translated into Spanish because it's a made up word. So you have to use an entire sentence to explain to Spanish speakers what the heck gerrymandering is. But then back to the do something, I was like, I'm going to help Latinos be better informed. And it was a challenge, but it was very interesting because I decided that I was going to create a daily Spanish newsletter. I'm not a journalist. I'm not a communications major. I didn't study politics. None of this. So I would study for hours on end during the day and read as many articles as I could to try to understand what the heck was happening, to write a newsletter that I would write until like 1:32 in the morning every day and send it out. That was nuts. Thankfully, my husband still loves me and supported me during that very difficult time because he was in charge of baby duty that entire time. It was exhausting and I wasn't making a lot of traction. But I kept moving forward. And eventually down the line, I was part of a startup accelerator here in Portland. There was a competition. I won the pitch competition for my company and my vision. And then I met with one of the judges from the competition and asked him for advice and some insight and like how I could, get better. And he sat me down. I'm going to tell you the date because it's one of those, if you've seen the Inside Out movie, it is a core memory that I have in my brain that will never leave me. March 23rd, 2018. I met with Marceau and he was like, Sylvia, I don't care how good your newsletter is. in writing because I can't read Spanish, but you will never be as engaging as you are in person. Latinos are watching videos. They're not reading newsletters. So you need to be on camera. You need to post a video by today at 6 p.m. or you're going to have to donate $15 to the Donald Trump reelection campaign. I was like, no, you're crazy. Like, I can't do that. No, like, I can't do it. And he's like, you're going to do it. I react very well to that kind of challenge. So by 5:55, I had posted 2 videos. I look like a deer in headlights. It's like one of the most adorable videos. Watching it now, I'm like, oh, if you keep doing something, you actually get better. Because I look ridiculous. You can totally see me staring at my little like post-it note, like on the side, like, and it was a video in Spanish. Hola, soy Sylvia. Hoy, like, it was something about like Michael Cohen's office getting raided. But anyway, I kept moving forward. Now most of my content is in English because Hispanic citizens prefer, according to the data, content in English, and there's a huge percentage of the Hispanic population that does speak English. So since I'm doing everything by myself, then I have to be very mindful of how I use my resources and my time. So I make most of the content in English, but if it's something that I can quickly turn around, I can do it in Spanish also. I also now have a little bit of help from somebody that helps me edit the videos in Spanish so I can crank out more. But that's where we are, and I do it in different ways. And Lisa, if you want, now I can move on to my pitch on like all the different ways that we can participate in campaigns, because
Absolutely. Yep.
Postcard writing party is like my jam. If you follow my content, you know that I talk about postcarding like all the time. In fact, it's really funny that Simon Rosenberg is going to be speaking to us shortly, because I got very triggered at one of his hopium gatherings when some lady in the chat said that postcarding doesn't work. And I was like, I got very upset, like inside of me, because postcarding and letter writing is absolutely my jam.
Mm-hmm.
Back in 2020, I tried. I swear to you, I signed up to do phone banking with a friendly list in Florida. And I was like, I'm going to call the people in Florida to turn out. I'm quite introverted in some ways. I'm not fully an introvert. I'm not an extrovert. I'm in the middle, ambivert. But the idea of calling strangers like sends me into a panic. After about like 45 minutes of this like phone bank, my husband found me crying in my office because I was like, I cannot call another person to get insulted over and over and over and over. I was crying. And then it was baffling to me to watch the Slack for this group and all these people so energized, like how much they love calling random strangers to tell them to vote. I was like, I don't understand this. Also, I never answer my phone. Like if I were on the other side, I do not answer the phone from numbers I don't know. I don't open my door if I'm not expecting you. I don't like random text. So postcards is the way that you're going to reach me as a voter. And when I discovered, because I also have very good handwriting, because my mother would make me rewrite my homework over and over and over until she was satisfied with my handwriting, because she was a teacher. So I can do postcard writing to my heart's content. And also I recruit child labor. My daughter is in charge of putting the stamps that she calls stickers. And I also tell her which parts of the postcard she needs to highlight. And it's like a little assembly line. She gets involved. She understands that this is important to reach people. And it just makes me happy all around.
So is one of your pieces of advice, start them young?
I would say so. Absolutely. She had totally unexpected. She came back from camp this summer and she told me that one of the boys had said that he doesn't like politics. And I like expanded when I heard her response. She's like, well, Mama, I told him that politics is all around him and politics messes with his life and like the food he eats and the roads he's on and like go. And I was like, yes, that's my daughter. Then I was like, I am so happy. So start
Can
them
we
young.
send your daughter out to speak to these undecided voters?
She's extroverted. She can absolutely do it. She is like a social butterfly. She and my husband could totally do like the canvassing and phone banking
So-
happily.
Yeah.
Well,
So what
I'm
are some of
here.
your suggestions and techniques?
In terms of, well, so I believe that we can't be doing all the things all at once. We need the phone banking people. We need the canvassing people. We need the texting people.
Mhm.
We need the postcard writing people. And also, we can be campaigning and influencing others in other ways, not all the time when we're doing those things. For instance, this is usually, if I'm going to present to a group, I dress up. But today, not that I usually would never wear a t-shirt for a presentation, except that today I'm wearing a very intentional t-shirt. And as I was saying, I wear my very subtle coconut tree and palm tree Kamala hat. Because when I'm out and about, I'm literally influencing others with what I'm wearing. I also have, one of the other things that I say is you can compliment others who are wearing merch that you like, because it makes them feel good and it's going to make them wear the same thing again and again. I literally cannot wash this fast enough. I have another one of these t-shirts out coming in the mail because I want to keep wearing it. I make bracelets, like friendship bracelets with, I have this one that says Kamala. I don't know if you're going to be able to like see it, but it says Kamala. And I hand them out to people that compliment my shirt. I'm like, here you go. I have another one that says register to vote. Another one that says use your voice. I don't sell those, but I give them away. If you are artsy, crafty, you can totally do merch, sell it on Etsy. I'm seeing some people on social media saying that this is how they're going to contribute to the campaign. They can't afford to donate directly. They're doing it through their business of jewelry making, art making. You can make the friendship bracelets, give them away. You can also just have conversations and say, hey, are you registered to vote? Have you checked your voter registration? Because if you're living in Texas, Ohio, and many of the other states that are purging the rolls of people for whatever reason, it's important to check your voter registration as often as you probably groom your dog, or if you don't groom your dog, get a haircut, just to make sure that it's exactly how it needs to be, which is a concept that is very important to educate the Latino community on. So Lisa and I, when we talked, she told me that she appreciated a video that I did talking about the differences of where people are at. And I think that's something that we have to keep in mind. And I feel like sometimes if there isn't somebody explaining to you why Latinos aren't coming to vote, one might believe, oh, they just don't care. They're just not engaged voters. The problem is that you were talking at the wrong time or the wrong place. And I'll give you like a specific example, like specific examples. In Colombia, so I'm going to speak as a Colombian because that's my personal experience and that I can tell you for sure. We are automatically registered to vote when we turn 18. And we have a polling location. So the fact that I have to register to vote is an alien concept for me because my government does it for me already. The only time a person in Colombia would change their polling location or their voting location is if they specifically want to move it to a place closer to their house. If you move 2 houses down, you do not change your voter registration. So that whole concept is very strange to us. We also, this is something that I repeat over and over, we don't, this concept of vote on day one is very alien to us because we vote on one day. It's a Sunday and it's a holiday. The whole country votes on that day. So this thing of like, oh, we're telling Latinos to vote on day one and they're not doing it. Well, number one, did you explain what that was? There's no voting early. There's no voting by mail. All of these things you have to explain. So if you're creating assets or like videos, scripts, flyers that talk about this, you need to explain the concept a little bit more than you would to a group of people that was born and educated and grew up here in the United States with this concept of registering to vote. Like If you move, you have to update your voter registration, because that's completely alien to us.
Huh.
So it's important to add that context when you're
That is
having these
really good to know.
conversations.
I mean, that's not something we would assume as Americans, you know, that we have such a wackadoodle system that's different in
All
all
of my
50 states. Yeah.
all of my Latino friends text me. They're like, "What do you mean? Like, so did the yesterday I was having a conversation. I'm Colombian, but I grew up in Ecuador, and my Ecuadorian friend was like, so did the voter registration period end? I'm like, no, it changes by states, and there's the different rules, and then some of them let you. And then he's like, what? And I was like, yeah, I'm actually compiling a spreadsheet of the rules state by state so that I can share it with my audience and on social media. He's like, why are you doing that if the website exists? I'm like, because you got to meet people where they are. People are not going to the Secretary of State website. They're on Instagram scrolling through recipes and cat videos. So if I can sneak in a little bit of knowledge there, then that's what I'm going to do.
Well, it's all about getting rid of those barriers. And that's one reason we put QR codes on every one of our postcards so people can just scan it for that state.
Exactly. Make it as easiest for people to have the information, meet them where they're at. Part of what you were saying earlier about influencing our the people that we know, I've been thinking a lot about that since you and I had our conversation on Thursday, and I feel like I am a information influencer in the public sense, and then I do the information in public, so like my posts are mostly about information, and the influencing, I mean, there could be some influencing in those videos, but I do a lot of the influencing in the private conversations that I have on DMs, which I think relates more to regular people that are not content creators with thousands of followers on social media. Also because a couple of things. Number one, I'm a conflict averse, so I'm not going to argue in the comment section of anything. Like, I don't get the adrenaline rush that some of my friends do. They literally love arguing with strangers in the comment section. And to me, that is the most bizarre concept ever. Same as like paying to ride a roller coaster. I don't get that. I don't get that. I don't understand that. But also, I want to have a conversation and be able to explain to you why I have things, and so I can provide you with links and supporting evidence if we're having a conversation in DMs versus in the comment section on a post. So I do most of my influencing in either DMs or text messages or conversations face to face with people where we can like take time and process and see where we're both like coming from. I don't know if you want to like me to add more things.
Well, I think this is what you've been saying has been really good. I'm going to switch us over to some questions now. I'm just trying to find some of these over here. Okay, so okay, here we go. Sorry, I'm trying to find these.